I'm Dale Salim, and this is my wife, Telika Salim. We've been here since 1980, and we have this farm, about 10 acres. And at one point, we were the largest. We're in northern Massachusetts, and at one point, we were the largest breeders in the state. We had about 26 horses in here, and 2 stallions. And right now, we're down to about 1/3 of that, even less. Because of the situation of racing in Massachusetts. It hurts us as a breeder, and also it hurts the whole industry, basically. Now we're trying to struggle to really maintain this number of horses in here, since no racing whatsoever, so no money is coming really to support these horses. The 3 days of racing at Suffolk Downs really doesn't do anything for us, and even now this year they want to race 6 days. It still doesn't do anything for us. Also, last year I sent 11 horses to New York, and the sad part of really racing in New York is that all the money that I spent and all the money that we won at Finger Lakes, plus our own money in here, it all went to state of New York. It did not really help any businesses in Massachusetts. In the past, when I had 26 horses here, I used to buy so much hay, tons of hay, and that's every couple of months, come and buy several tons, also tons of feed, also employ people in here. So all the money that came in from racing to us was spent right here in the state. And right now, the money spent in New York does not help anybody or any businesses in here in the state. Now, the only hope at this time that we have is that if we could have some racing locally, like Brockton or Rainham, and that's only the beginning, I think, because the MTHA, they're doing their best to really bring racing back to Massachusetts, and not only this, bring back jobs that were lost, and bring back the breeding business that's been decimated by the lack of racing in Massachusetts, and also the farms that have been closed, the boarding farms that have been closed, and we could bring employment back. Well, in closing, we would like to ask the legislatures to please consider our plea to save the farms and save the families who operate and own these farms and restore racing to the state. We used to have 150 days of racing in here, and we're down to 1 to 50-day minimum. I mean, that's the minimum racing. Without really a set number of racing days, we really can't exist. At least 100 days of racing we need to be able to really maintain the farm. And not only my farm, I know of so many people that have called me, because I'm on the board of directors of the Mass Breeder Association. They called me. They're pleading with me to save their farms and what we could do. And hopefully the MTHA it's already came forward to help the horsemen, and hopefully will continue to do so by bringing racing back to Brockton or Rainham, and hopefully. Now this is what we used to do about 30 times a year, and now this is it, 1. So you could see what has happened to the breeding industry and to the farming industry in here, and the thoroughbred industry in the state. Very sad.
Well, it was a sad day for us today. I mean, the horses on our farm have left. For the first time, we're racing out of state, out of Massachusetts. We had to take the chance and send our horses over to the Finger Lakes in New York, to a trainer and to a training center that we know nothing about, and put our trust in them. We've raced our horses here in Massachusetts since year 2000. This is our farm here. We used to board horses here. We have had our own horses here, and we still have one left here that probably wouldn't do very well at the Finger Lakes, so she's left behind. You know, all this is the people around the area who supplied us with hay and grain and feed are taking a toll. And you know, I guess we're pretty upset over things that have sort of happened here on the farm. And I think a lot of people in Massachusetts are in this critical stage where we need to find places for our horses to race if Massachusetts is not going to come through for us. Last year during the 3 days, our horses were here on the farm. Our horses,
We had no place to get it ready.
right, we had no places to get them ready. There was no place around this area to get our horses in condition, and we cannot just pull our horses off of a farm and expect them to run a mile, mile 70 on a track. So therefore the horses stayed here, and we had to watch people bring horses up from other states and race on our racetrack where we've raced for the last 10 years. We made absolutely nothing. We made absolutely nothing. And also because our friends are giving away their horses for riding horses, etc. We've also lost the income of boarding other people's horses here. So we're pretty much down to one horse and in an empty barn, and it's a pretty sad day that you know, the horse racing industry in Massachusetts won't give us another try. If
When
Brockton comes into racing again, we will be there. We've been there before. Great area. We loved it there. We were treated very nicely there. Our horses were taken care of fine there. We enjoyed it. It was close enough where we could go and watch the races, enjoy ourselves for the day, and see all the meet people. And we know quite a few. Ed's brother suggested that he would get back into the horse racing business if Brockton opens. We have friends on the other side of the Connecticut River that will bring his horses back from other
Dickie
tracks to
Bedravitz
race
in
there.
Greenfield said he'd get a couple more
Yeah, about
horses.
12 miles north in Greenfield. There's a trainer up there who's been at Suffolk since day one, and he'll bring his horses there
nobody's
also.
gonna, for
Quite a
what?
few of them. Art Lyman owns a farm. They have a big farm. They raced the whole circuit at one time. Marshfield, Brockton. Oh, definitely. Sometimes we're forgotten out here that, you know, and we keep sending comments in to the Mass Gaming Commission. We keep sending comments into our senators and our legislatures saying, you know, help us get back into the racing business. You know, we're waiting. We're holding on to horses. It's not cheap. It's very expensive to keep a horse on a farm for a month between the hay, the grain, the feed, the vet bills, the dental bills, and everything else. You know, money adds up, and we're waiting, and we've been loyal. We've been loyal and waiting, but unfortunately, things are not looking to our advantage. I guess in conclusion here, I'd just kind of like to say that I'd like our state senator, Stan Rosenberg, to understand of what's happened to the farms out here in western Massachusetts, and that we would just like sufficient amount of racing days to get the horse racing industry back in motion, so that we can all go back to work again. Not only our farm here, but many farms around the area, and our horses will be brought back to the state of Massachusetts.
Art Lyman from Hatfield, Massachusetts. I've been racing probably 45 years in Mass and New Hampshire. And this year I'm down in Maryland because there's no racing in Mass basically. Last year they had 3 days at Suffolk, and I didn't have a horse ready, so I stayed in Maryland. And that's about it. I'd like to be back racing, but I raced down at Brockton the only year they ran. I was there 1 year when they ran. The racing was good. I had a good meet, and I'd like to be back there. And when I was racing, I used to train horses here before we went to the fair, which was Brockton, Marshfield, Northampton, and Barrington. I'd have a bunch of horses here trading, which helped the local economy. The farm, for grain, hay, and everything. And that's all done. So unless we get racing back, everybody suffers, including the farm.
Hello, I'm Tony Ryan. I'm in Sutton, Mass. We're at Oak Crest Farm. It's my brother Timmy.
Hi, Tim Ryan, 3rd generation Thoroughbred, owner, breeder, lifetime, grew up on this farm, as he did. My sister Patty, who's trained horses in New England, around the country for many years, my brother Tommy, my brother Johnny, Mike son has been in the, he's fourth generation. He's owned a few horses with me. This is said to be the oldest thoroughbred track in New England. We've been racing from here, breeding horses here up until recent years. We used to have 36 horses in this barn. We have several retired thoroughbreds and a few mass breds of our own that we're waiting to figure out where to go and what to do with. Tony's been the trainer the last 5 to 10 years of it, pretty much. Patty kind of stayed here and ran the farm. At one time this was a bustling place. We had hay deliveries every other week. The grain man would be here every week. 2 different blacksmiths, 3 different vets. There's a veterinarian clinic built right over there for large animals that is doing cats and dogs now. Just so much has changed because of the landscape of racing here. We have none, obviously, of late. And if we can get it back, some of these jobs will come back, and you know, we could pay our taxes and make some money here. There's a public record. It's over $20,000 a year for this 60-acre farm in Sutton, just in property taxes. Without having the horses and the barn full, it's really difficult. We all struggle to, you know, we've gotten the best jobs we can outside of our area of expertise. I personally have a little business, but you know, Tony's been working, driving and doing whatever, and so has the others. So it's put a very much a financial burden on all of us. And if we can get racing back, it will bring back a lot of jobs and bring back the breeding and bring this place back to life somewhat. Tony
like,
can give you more.
Like with me, and and there's a lot of people like me that have made a living training horses for years. I've been training horses since I was, God, I don't know when, I was a kid, and been training in Suffolk, Rockingham, when they used to have the fairs, and when we had racing in New England. And through the years it's died down. It's hurt a lot of people. And with the closing of Suffolk Downs, or no racing, no matter where it be, Brockton or any of these places, people like me, it's like killed me. It's put me out of business. I used to have anywhere from a string of 20, 30 horses. I've trained up the family horses, but I also had a lot of horses for owners who have since either got out of the business or moved on because there's no place to race them in New England. And if you live in Massachusetts, why do you want to own a horse if you can't watch them race? So I had owners that just got out of the business because they don't enjoy the fact that they have to send them to Pennsylvania or to New Jersey. Or, you know, they like to take their family and go to the races, so it's really hurt. It's really hurt us too as a family, because this farm at one time, not only did we race at the track, but this farm at one time, we used to breed. We'd had 4 studs standing here in the 90s, early 2000s. We used to breed 30, 40 mares, not only ours, but outside mares for people, bowl them out here for the mass bred program. So it's really, you know, it's killed the whole, like, everybody. It's you know, it's driven you to do other things that you don't want to be doing, but hey.
As of recent, I've been attending these Mass Thoroughbred Owners Association meetings, and a lot of things have been brought to light. The possibility of running more than a 3-day meet or a 6-day meet. There's been dates granted to Brockton for 30 days. Beyond a rumor, it's been publicly said by the county, Chris, that he is interested in expanding over to Raynham and building a new facility for racing. So it's got us a little bit upbeat. We look forward to it, you know, coming to light. The meetings I go to have had over 200 people at them. I don't think anybody else in this area that claims to be a Horsemen's Association could get more than 20 people in a room. So it's all of us true horsemen that are showing up, transparent and honest. And we need this to happen.
You need more than 3 days of racing, because 3 days of racing they had last year absolutely did nothing for anybody in Massachusetts. I guarantee you, and I didn't look at the figures, but I guarantee you 90% of that money went out of town. It did not go to Massachusetts residents, Massachusetts owners, whatever it was, it left. So 3 days of racing does nothing. People are not going to race at a 3-day meet.
Hey, the Mass Turnpike made some money. All them guys.
All them
came
guys
from out of
shipped up.
town.
There's where the money went.
Right down the Mass
There
Pike.
you go. That's
I'm
how they
being
made the money.
facetious. I'm not
But
trying
as
to
far
be,
as
but I am.
as far as that, Suffolk Downs does not want to run. They should not be simulcasting. That's the only beef I have about it. Is that why should they get a signal? They're not in the racing business. 3 days of racing is not in the racing business. All
all
they're
about
doing is
money
it's
with them.
all about money. So if they want to simulcast, run a meet, run at least a 60-day meet, run something so people can race. That's I don't understand it, but hey, I'm not a politician. And the only other thing I got to say is I remember back in the 70s, and that's how long I've been racing horses, that we went to the State House and there was a bill passed that unless you run 150 days of racing, you could not simulcast. They've tipped this bill upside down, they've changed it. The horsemen have been, I think they've been really given sold a bill of goods. But I remember back in the 70s, we were going to go out and strike, and we passed that law to
Listen.
protect racing.
The bottom line is, folks, 1 to 50 days doesn't make it for us. The bill that was passed was to race a minimum of 150 and 125 days. That's the casino bill. They passed a bill for seat belts, and I got a ticket Saturday morning. They passed it on a Friday. This is 5 years later. We're not racing. Casinos aren't being built. I mean, we need the 120, 125 days.
Hi, I'm Lee Lobelins. This is Lion Spring Farm. We're in Dover, Mass. I've been here since 1979. It's been a working farm since 1706, 1708. We used to carry about 20 horses. I employed 2 full-time people, 2 Aggie students, and 2 adoptive vets. We're now down to 1 part-time person and 1 lonely stud, basically is what it comes down to. The rest of the horses are gone. The blacksmith used to come, spend a whole day. Now he's here for an hour. I'm not ordering the hay, the food, the grain. I used to have exercise riders come in and ride the horses. They're not here anymore. The vets, when we were breeding, we had a vet here 2 to 3 times a week, easily, all through the breeding season, and now she comes and gives shots in fall and spring. All right, we've been breeding here for years. We've probably, between the 2 stallions, had 60, 70 foals. We're with these horses. I get the cover, have a 12-day picture of a 12-day embryo. I deliver them. They're with me until they go to the track, where I can still go in and visit them. Right now they're out of state. I can see them on TV for a minute or 2 when they run. That's it. My money is also going out of state to support the horses, where in the past it was here. You know, for the industry to survive in the state, we need a minimum of 100 days racing. There are a lot of people who made their living at that track, and you can't do it on less than 100 days. The thing is that people who were in the industry need to know, and know soon, what is happening in the state. We can't hang on. There are big expenses to raise a foal, to racing. It's 2 to 3 years. No one's interested in breeding with everything up in the air. Yeah, they're starting to think this is the oldest house in Dover. We might have a problem going. Face that way, you mud goose. Oh, look at it.
Hi, my name's Tim Kirby, in Dover, Mass. This is our farm. My grandfather and my father were horsemen here, and this used to be a 12-acre field out here where we had a half-mile training track, and we used to train the horses out here, get them ready for the Suffolk meet, and they did awful good right away, right when we started running. And now, since Suffolk's closed and there's no racing around, we sold this 12-acre part of the farm, and they're building houses out here, so we can't use it. It goes back to the 1950s, and we've had many mass-bred foals here, raised here and everything, but now we only have a couple old horses here because there's no racing in the state. And the 3 days of racing at Suffolk didn't help us at all. We used to have boarders here when the track was closed for the winter, and now there aren't any horses around to board or breed or anything. We didn't run the 3 days of Suffolk. I know a lot of local people didn't, and didn't do any of the local people any good. And the 6 days of racing this year won't be any better for me or most of the people around here that I know. And, it'd be nice for the legislation to go back to racing for a full race meet of about 100 days. That way people, especially local people, can make a living out of this business, and this business supports a lot of local industries, fence companies, blacksmiths, veterinaries, feed companies, laborers. It's far-reaching, and I know a lot of those people are hurting because the horse business is dwindling in this state, and I don't see why, if the trotters can run 100 days, I don't see why we can't run a full meet and make a living like they do. Usually when there was a full race meet in Massachusetts, would have mares foaling out here, and actually during the foaling season, the Cub Scouts and Boy Scouts used to come up and visit the farm and look at the foals, and have the veterinaries and everything explain the whole process to them, and the kids seemed really interested in it, but had to tell them we don't have any more right now, and that people would also come up and watch the horses train around the half-mile track, and other people in the state would send horses here to get fit, ready for the meet.